careful. Oh, shit. You good? Okay, good. Not playtime, no playtime. Come on, up. You want to sit right there? You want to sit there? Is that what you do? You controlling my spot? You sit right on your ass. Oh. Let's go ahead and get it in. I want to start this off. I saw somebody who, I respect everybody. So I don't have to point no one person out. Got a notification from Facebook by way of Instagram. I was looking at my boy Mike Spivey. I was looking at a couple of his videos. Big Jersey, if you see him on here, if he comments. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. And some of you live in these so-called liberal states. I hate saying that on our land, our whole entire land. I'm going to say this again. If you never made it your business to take piloting license, you go get your piloting license, learn how to fly this Cessna, Barnstorm, or whatever. In the 80s, I could have learned how to fly one of those. Every Friday, me and 3 buddies, we're 19. We said, let's go and heard from this officer. Why don't you go learn how to fly? Saw the price. And we were living in the barracks on base in AS6ville, not that far from the air base. Where you sit in a class, I think it was like 5 hours, like that day, and for the next every week before we went up and flew, we had that 1 8-hour class, and then 5 hours the briefings and this, that, and other, what we're going to be doing with our trainer, dual 2-seaters. And I paid, I think it was $100 175, I was thinking 75, but at my point it was $100. I don't know. And I had got up to the point of my night flights. I had already had, I think it was 3 solo flights. If you haven't flown, everybody says they're an artist. That's one. If you haven't flown, you know, in art, conceptualization based upon your perception of what you see, right? And we do that in art class. You learn that. Like if you want to do buildings, you want to make it look as real as possible, or close to surrealism. If you want to characterize, make it character or cartoonish. If you don't know the simple, basic principles of that, I'm not going to explain that here. Go and look it up. If you've never been diving, I knew SEER guys who I drank with, good buddies, who started training me when I really wanted to go special forces. I was running, I was lifting crazy weights, swimming with fins, swimming with the manatees, swimming across the St. John's River, which everybody said don't do, but I always let it be known to find out when there was no boats going back and forth, which there always was. I knew how to go under. I could hold my breath for a long time. Anything can happen though, and that water was foul with gas and oil. Manatees, I swam with them through the kelp and everything. I had a phobia, until I realized how gentle they were. They budge you and knock you now. I did everything when I was very young, training hard martial arts, punching walls instead of heavy bags, to condition my bones, hurting, probably causing harm. Travel around the world. Because of the things I talked about, I got to meet some very, very, I would say, important people. Maybe they were waiting for people like me. I got my stuff in. Didn't have it in for the last 2 days, but I felt like I needed this. If you're going to sit there telling everybody that the Earth's spinning at 1,100,000 miles per hour, zooming through space, the sun is center point, and all the planets are spinning around it, when every one of them's got a moon or 2 or 3, zipping through space, billions of miles wide, and the stars are the same. No, hold on, listen. And the sun is 93.6 million miles away. And the sun and the moon are 2 different sizes. Because it's tangible to you. And you're going to tell people that this is not the old world, that this is the new world, like the Pelican said. And your history is that you came from somewhere else and settled here. Then you be at that. But don't you dare start incorporating. I've seen people, Lord, I see a few people liking on his crap. And I'm going to talk to a few of them. And I'm going to be like, do you really accept because YouTube and because of what? First of all, I know a young lady who was sickened by one of those individuals. All right. And I know them pretty well, living in New York and everything in my visits, to his ignorance. I'm not going to say his name at this moment. See, I know my family's history and tradition going very far back. How I knew my great-great uncles that fought in the fictional Civil War. I've been to buildings and structures and shit on the ground you ain't never seen, son. So when you want to make those rhetorical comments because you're always in New York battling with the Hebrews and the Pan-Fries and the Pan-Americans and whatever the fuck, instead of stick to your binary line of your ideology and your family history, leave the other shit alone. Do not talk about, because you don't know what the earth looks like. I know enough pilots right now, maybe 2 who feel like, man, they got 5 years to live, who will tell you right off the bat, the earth is not a spinning fucking ball. Tartaria, this was the Republic, Asia Superior, every part of Atlantean. I don't care if you don't believe me, if you ever looked at the Mississippi that we carved out long ago, and look at the several points of it, the Nile don't have those 7 points. If you believe these idiots came here in the 1800s, and for 2 years, we're able to build on 450 fucking acres. In some places, more than that. These grand cities where the capitals still stand, buildings in marble, and every time it ended, it seemed like a firewall. A turpentine bombs were blowing up left and right. And TNT is not new either. Obviously, if we know about the fucking Revolutionary War and the Civil War, if you can't put 1 and 1 together, And you want to mislead fucking people. And y'all want to follow that motherfucker. Because I can't listen to him no more. Still love him. I can't listen to him. And America is not the name of this fucking land. Nor is it a fucking turtle. If you don't know the story of the Pale Wolf and the Dark Wolf, you don't know shit as far as I'm concerned. I can do that dance. And a few other things. Abe Lincoln was not a fucking president. He was a con. He was a con. I don't give a fuck about the idiots who came here and changed the dynamics of that, using their daughter to paint with and using that daughter to paint a picture and say, oh, this is what an Indian looks like. That shit goes back so fucking far. Some people just want to do this and their rationale, because, you know, in liberal cities, you know, like fight and flight shit. My family is like, oh, well, your mama's got a buck tooth and she chews like this with a, you know, I mean, and they get mad and want to fight. See, there's no control, no civility, no moral subjugation. The only reality is the reality that they've constructed based on their interpretation, passed down in one little or maybe two little fucking books. My family's history is all over the fucking earth. And solid in here and here and here. If you want to listen to people saying the earth's a spinning ball, then you go right fucking ahead. If you want to believe that 1978, they stopped searching the ocean because they lost a lot of ships and shit. Y'all know that? Well, of course, the government's not going to tell you, because all those motherfuckers are part of the agenda. To what you see laying out and right before your fucking eyes. But these idiots, where some of the highest traders were picked and chosen from. New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Detroit, Cali, Virginia, Florida. Biggest fucking traders to our people. If you want to listen to that motherfucker who don't know no better, all he did was go to South America. You go right ahead. No hate. If you want to listen to any of these other fucking fools, I just saw a whole bunch of folks who've been watching my fucking video who never talked about this fucking book before in their life. Neither one. All of a sudden, they're putting it out on tables, taking pictures. And I read this 10 years ago. See, these are the motherfuckers when I was growing up. A movie's getting ready to come out. It ain't come out. And we say, and me and my friend know we got this guy who's always going, me too. We used to walk saying, hey, man, you check out that new Cannonball Run, Jackie Chan? Yeah, it was pretty. We make up some shit. Yeah, that was awesome. He'd be in the background. And we're looking at each other going, here this nigga go. And then we have to correct him and say, brother, you don't have to do that. We wouldn't beat him up like some of these idiots would today. Wouldn't rob him. No, we tell him, yo, man, stop. The movie ain't come out. There was no early screening. We're going down north. I'm going to see it at the Paramount. You can come with us. But you don't have to be involved in everything we do, bro. If you're going to be involved, then be there with us. See, you have these motherfuckers that do that. Now, this is the second book I've ordered. I'm not going to dig all through that shit. I could take the phone, take y'all to my shed, and show you how far back and all the fucking totes and everything else in there. The targets and all that shit. And you'd be like, oh, okay, Red, I see. Holy shit. I can do that right now. Take you down there and show you my fucking shed. Right by my patio. Separate doors, separate locks. Turn the light on. Now we can see all my models, all kind of books and winter clothes and shit that I ain't even have to take out. All kind of shit. Even some ammo and shit. Welding shit. I'm tired of y'all following every fucking body. I don't ask you to follow me. I ask you just to listen, pay attention. That's all I ask. I ask for you. Because see, remember Farrakhan gave that speech? I don't need you motherfuckers. I can go and get a whole new group of people. People who want to work with me. It's not my fucking loss. Because I'm still going to, and I'm not going to use the word God. Creator, creation. I believe empirically that there's a truth to that. But dynamically, it's all been perverted. So I'm not going to hold myself to any of their perversions, whether there's a truth in there or not. I will continue to read and lament in that reading until things become more unfractured. Some people are very delusional and they can't see it because they are it. I examine myself every day. And I do. I have no other choice. My body goes through moments of pain and excruciating feelings and things that I have to put away to keep moving forward. My thoughts and my beliefs. We talk about Tartaria. The enemy wants to dismiss it, so he's got their little goons because they control the websites. And they always use these little undertone marks and statements. Tartaria, all the theory and all. But people will listen to that. People who don't know no better, who don't know nothing. And they'll go, I thought it was. I never read shit, never been nowhere. I never even looked at to see what they were looking at. I wanted people to prove me wrong about the years. I expressed it. I was born in 1958. I even had a family member say, you were born in 1966. I says, no, it was 1958. They didn't even know about Ethiopia or a few other countries that's still moving on right now, being 2015. Spit this shit out so I can go ahead and read, because I don't like swallow. Even this shit, even though it's not the back, I don't like swallowing it. I just don't. It's a little pouch and it's minty and shit. I just can't swallow it. I just don't trust to swallow it. Somebody say, but it's in your mouth. And yes, and so are my fucking teeth and my tongue. And we drink and eat a lot of shit that shouldn't go on our body. So what the fuck does that mean? Anywho, let me finish my chaba, spirulina, avocado, guineo, and cinnamon. Made with coconut water. Oh my goodness. Yes, when I drank it last time and I got up to move around, I was doing that like this. And I didn't want y'all to see me doing it. Seriously. I can't believe that he even opened his mouth. See, that was based upon feelings. And listening probably to a lot of religious motherfuckers and all these other individuals. I have no hate for religious people. I can converse with them and talk with them. The problem is they don't see the indoctrination and what it's done. So I have no hate for them, but if you're going to talk about something, you better know what you're talking about and be aware that because you open your fucking mouth, nobody will sit there and not go against you. I think Lord, I believe he shared it. I don't know if any of y'all shared my videos, but if you don't, and like I said, the cash up there is to purchase more books. I think I've got like $25 left because I withdrew it to purchase some of those books instead of just looking at them, even though I'm waiting for, I think there's supposed to be some there on the 19th and the 23rd. Is that a month from when it was like several books that I ordered. So, and you saw the beautiful, did I? Oh, yes. I actually had got two books. I actually picked the book up yesterday. And I haven't even opened it. This right here. Oh my God, I'm so happy to get this. Yeah. I'll make it small. I'm still gonna make the small ones. When I go to Flagstaff, I'll just go there and pay for them on my pocket. I think it'll be like $125 to get a whole bunch of them done. But this is beautiful, isn't it? I mean, as far as me, this is fabulous. And I really looked it over, and I was like, and when you look at something, and I was able to go, holy shit! Now I see why we use so many words. And the possibility of their origin and how these idiots were able to manipulate and convince us through indoctrination Why would you have to indoctrinate people and lie about history? Why would you have to destroy the old world? Why would you have to make so many people so dumb that we go through what we're going through, like what I was stating? I'm not going through nothing. I am going against the grain of those who believe their authority or authoritative in information of the history of the world when they lack all information other than what they want to believe in. And even then, I know a lot about their fucking clan, tribe, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. And the truth of it, we were all united, speaking one fucking language. And that's all I'm going to say to that. Let's go ahead and get into Arthur Koestler, the 13th tribe. I appreciate y'all taking the time to hear that little banter. I'm just so sick and tired of the divisiveness of some. You know, you get a motherfucker that can slam dunk. When I was 5'9", I can grab the rim. Oh yeah, 13 foot. I was a gymnast. I could jump high as fuck. Yeah, I think I slammed maybe once or twice. I wasn't going to be a basketball player. What the fuck? I want to be running up and down the court and slamming balls for it and worried about getting penalized and this and that because I knocked some tall, goofy motherfucker who can't fight out. No, I wasn't gonna do that to myself. A lot of people in my family, Jazz, my aunt, you know, Cashapp, Red Sox, you know, basketball coaches, sports coaches, everybody in my family. No. They wanted to do with the shit. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Arthur Koestler, the 13th tribe. 2. Conversion. The religion of the Hebrews, writes Berry, had exercised a profound influence on the creed of Islam. And it had been, did you hear that? The religion of the Hebrews, writes Berry, had exercised a profound influence on the creed of Islam. And it had been a basis for Christianity. Now you know why when I say I respect Islam a lot more. Anyway, it had won scattered proselytes, but the conversion of the Khazars to the undiluted religion of Jehovah, Yahweh, is unique in history. What was the and these words are the words he's using because it's the knowledge that he has. What was the motivation of this unique event? It is not easy to get under the skin of a Khazar prince, covered, as it was, by the coat of Mel. But if we reason in terms of power politics, which obeys essentially the same rules throughout the ages, a fairly plausible analogy offers itself. At the beginning of the 8th century, the world was polarized between the two superpowers representing Christianity and Islam. The ideological doctrines were welded to power politics, pursued by the classical methods of propaganda, subversion, and military conquest. The Khazar Empire represented a third force, which had proved equal to either of them, both as an adversary, and an ally. But it could only maintain its independence by accepting neither Christianity nor Islam. For either choice would have automatically subordinated it to the authority of the Roman Emperor of the Caliph of Baghdad. The Roman Emperor of the Caliph. To Baghdad. No, not to. Of Baghdad. Roman Emperor or Caliph of Baghdad. There had been no lack of efforts by either court to convert the Khazars to Christianity or Islam, but all they resulted in was the exchange of diplomatic courtesies, dynastic intermarriage, and shifting military alliances based on mutual self-interest. Relying on its military strength of the Khazar kingdom with its hinterland of vassal tribes, was determined to preserve its position as the third force, leader of the uncommitted nations of the steppes. At the same time, their intimate contacts with Byzantium and the Caliphate had taught the Khazars that their primitive shamanism was not only barbaric and outdated compared to the great monotheistic creeds, but also unable to confer on the leaders the spiritual and legal authority which the rulers of the two theocratic world powers the caliph and the emperor enjoyed. Yet, the conversion to either creed would have meant submission, the end of independence, and thus would have defeated its purpose. Now, as you saw in the beginning, the Hebraic um, narratives, they want to say religion here, he does, was pursuant to Christianity, to Islam, which Christianity is the offset of. Anyway, let's go on back to here. Two theocratic world powers, legal authority which the rulers of the two theocratic world powers, the caliph and the emperor, enjoyed. Yet the conversion to either creed would have meant submission, the end of independence, and thus would have defeated its purpose. Its purpose. They had a purpose. They had a purpose. What could have been more logical than to embrace a third creed, which was uncommitted towards either of the two, yet represented the venerable foundation of both? Now you see how they learn how to play both sides. The apparent logic of the decision is, of course, due to the deceptive clarity in hindsight. In reality, the conversion to Judaism required an act of genius. Yet both the Arab and Hebrew sources on the history of the conversion, however varied in detail, point to a line of reasoning as indicated above. To quote by once more, remember the coup d'etat? How people were betrayed all over the earth. There can be no question that the ruler was actuated by political motives in adopting Judaism. To embrace Mohammedanism would have made him the spiritual dependent of the caliphs, who attempted to press their faith on the Khazars, and in Christianity lay the dangers of his becoming an ecclesiastical vessel of the Roman Empire. Judaism was a reputable religion with sacred books which both Christian and Mohammedan respected. Mohammedan, remember I said that before Islam. Religion with sacred books which both Christian and Mohammedan respected. It elevated him above the heathen barbarians and secured him against the interference of caliph or emperor. But he did not adopt, along with circumcision, the intolerance of the Jewish cult. He allowed the mass of his people to abide in their heathendom and worship their idols, as you see that today. Though the Khazar court's conversion was no doubt politically motivated, it would still be absurd to imagine that they embraced overnight blindly a religion whose tenets were unknown to them. In fact, however, they had been well acquainted with Jews and their religious observances for at least a century before the conversion. Through the continued influx of refugees from religious persecution in Byzantium, and to a lesser extent from countries in Asia Minor conquered by the Arabs, we know that Khazaria was a relatively civilized country among the barbarians of the north, yet not committed to either of the militant creeds, and so it became a natural haven for the periodic exodus of Jews under Byzantine rule. Threatened by forced conversion and other pressures, persecution in varied forms had started with Justinian and assumed particularly vicious forms under Heraclius in the 7th century, Leo III in the 8th, and Basil and Leo IV in the 9th. Romanus in the 10th, thus Leo III, who ruled during the 2 decades immediately preceding the Khazar conversion to Judaism, attempted to end the anomaly (the states) of the tolerated status of Jews, and at one blow, by ordering all his Jewish subjects to be baptized, although the implementation of the order seemed to have been rather ineffective. It led to the flight of a considerable number of Jews from Byzantium. Masadi relates. In this city, Khazar and Itil, in brackets, are Muslims, Christians, Jews, and pagans. The Jews are the king, his attendants, and the Khazars of his kind. The king of the Khazars had already become a Jew in the Caliphate, or Harun al-Rashid, which we read earlier on, and he was joined by Jews from all lands of Islam and from the country of the Greeks, Byzantium. in brackets. Indeed, the king of the Greeks at the present time, the year of the Hagora, 332, has converted the Jews in his kingdom to Christianity by coercion. By coercion. Thus, many Jews took flight from the country of the Greeks to Khazaria. The last two sentences quoted refer to events 200 years after the Khazar conversion. We know that these are Ashkenaz. Khazar belonged to the Ab-Khazarians, the actual melanated people, as we read in the early on, and show how persistently the waves of persecution follow each other over the centuries. But the Jews were equally persistent. Many endured torture, and those who did not have the strength to resist returned later on to their faith, like dogs to their vomit. As one Christian chronicler gracefully put it, equally picturesque is the description of a Hebrew writer of one method of forced conversion used under the Emperor Basil against the Jewish community of Aurea in southern Italy. How did they force them? Anyone refusing to accept their erroneous belief was placed in an olive mill under a wooden press and squeezed in the way olives are squeezed in the mill. Literally flattened out, rolled out. How did they force them? Anyone refusing to accept their erroneous belief was placed in an olive mill, listen, under a wooden press and squeezed in the way olives are squeezed in the mill. Have you all ever seen that with the wheel? Or they use certain cattle, not cows when I say cattle, to spin it down and press the olives? Okay. Another Hebrew source remarks on the persecution under the Emperor Romanus and states in parentheses, the Greek king to whom Masadi refers, and afterwards there will arise a king who will persecute them not by destruction, but mercifully by driving them out of the country. The only mercy shown by history to those who took the flight were driven to it was the existence of Khazaria, both before and after the conversion. Before, it was a refuge haven. After, it became a kind of a national home. The refugees were products of a superior culture and were no doubt an important factor in creating that cosmopolitan, tolerant outlook which so impressed the Arab chronicles quoted before. Their influence and no doubt their proselytizing zeal would have made itself felt first and foremost at the court and among leading notables. They may have combined in their missionary efforts theological arguments and messianic prophecies with a shrewd assessment of the political advantages the Khazars would derive from adopting a neutral religion. The exiles also brought with them Byzantine arts and crafts, superior methods in agriculture and trade, and the square Hebrew alphabet. We do not know what kind of script the Khazars used before that, but the Fathist of Ibn Adim, a kind of universal, it always starts to get sweet, bibliography written circa AD 987, informs us that in his time, the Khazars used the Hebrew alphabet. It served the dual purpose of scholarly discourse in Hebrew. Now, in parentheses, it states analogous to the use of medieval Latin in the West. We are the fucking West. Anyway, and as a written alphabet for the various languages spoken in Khazaria. Again, in parentheses, it states analogs to the use of the Latin alphabet for the various vernaculars in Western Europe. From Khazaria, the Hebrew script seems to have spread into neighboring countries. Thus, Koestler reports that inscriptions in a non-Semitic language, in parentheses, are possibly in two different non-Semitic languages, and using Hebrew characters were found on two gravestones from Phanogoria and Partenite in the Crimea. They have not been deciphered yet. And again, in parentheses, it says the Crimea was, as we have seen, intermittently under Khazar rule, but it also had an old established Jewish community, and the inscriptions may even predate the conversions. End. And when I laughed when I said Western Europe, are y'all aware that we settled the west of Europe? We settled so-called Europe. Yeah, I didn't think you knew that. Some Hebrew letters, Shin and Sadeh, also found their way into the Cyrillic alphabet. And furthermore, many Polish silver coins have been found dating from the 12th or 13th century, whenever all this shit hit the fan, excuse my French, which bear Polish inscriptions in Hebrew lettering. For example, Leszek Król Polski, Leszek King of Poland, side by side with coins inscribed in the Latin alphabet. Polyak comments, these coins are the final evidence for the spreading of the Hebrew script from Khazaria to the neighboring Slavonic countries, and the use of these coins was not related to any question of religion. They were minted because many of the Polish people were more used to this type of script than the Roman script, and not considering it as specifically Jewish. Now we know that Mr. Arthur Koestler is speaking with vernaculars based on the time of the 20th century. And you must always remind yourself of that. So I'm going to deliberate speaking the words he knows, and whatever I insert, do the research on your own. Here we go. Mr. Behold the Pale Horse by Mr. William Cooper. Namaste. Oh, I love reading this. Trust me, y'all. Okay. So today we get into the household industry and then the household models and economic shock testing. In the household industry, the industries of finance, banking, in parentheses, manufacturing and government real counterparts of the pure industries of capital, goods, and services are easily defined because they are generally logically structured. Because of their processes structured, the Khazars took time to structure themselves into a position to utilize something which most people knew who we were. And we were all over the earth. I remember I asked y'all to look up the Hada people. When I went to look up the Hada people, it's funny how these fake 13 tribes who control Google with the certain organizations and with Pete and everything else, you can't find it nowhere. Even the video I did on YouTube, gone. And any other video that somebody may have followed up after finding it and hearing it, gone. A whole entire history, the Hatat people, erased. Anyway, it can be described logically structured because of their processes can be described mathematically and their technical coefficients can be easily deduced. This, however, is not the case with the service industry known as the household industry. Household models. The problem which is theoretical economists face is that the consumer preferences of any household is not easily predictable, and the technical coefficients of any one household tend to be a non-linear, very complex and variable function of income, prices, and etc. Computer information derived from the use of the Universal Product Code in conjunction with credit card purchases as an individual household, yet available on a national or even a significant regional scale. To compensate for this data deficiency, an alternate indirect approach of analysis has been adopted known as economic shock testing. That sounds familiar, don't it, y'all, in the 60s? This method, widely used in the aircraft manufacturing industry, develops an aggregate statistical sort of data. Applied to economics, this means that all of the households in one region or in the whole nation are studied as a group or class rather than individually, and the mass behavior rather than individual behavior is used to discover useful estimates of the technical coefficients governing the economic structure of the hypothetical single household industry. The big words don't mean nothing. Pay attention to the keywords as far as hypothetical, single household industry, the economic structure of. Always look at it in a way that's key and beneficial. That way you become the benefactor of the knowledge. One method of evaluating the technical coefficients of the household industry depends upon shocking the prices of a commodity and noting the changes in the sales of all the commodities. That's done with intent and purpose. Remember we were talking about conducive, transducer, blah, 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 storage, how it's released, who mitigates it. Economic shock testing. In recent times, the application of operations research to the study of the public economy has been obvious for anyone who understands the principles of shock testing. In the shock testing of an aircraft airframe, the recoil impulse of firing a gun mounted on that airframe causes shock waves in that structure, very true, which tell aviation engineers the conditions under which parts of the airplane or the whole airplane or its wings will start to vibrate or flutter like a guitar string. A flute, reed, remember I expressed that before, it was mentioned earlier, or a tuning fork, and disintegrate or fall apart in flight. Remember, I was talking about that boom, reverberation, boom. It's a form of a frequency, actually. Economic engineers achieve the same result in studying the behavior of the economy and the consumer public by carefully selecting a staple commodity such as beef, coffee, gasoline, or sugar, and then causing a sudden change or shock in its price or availability, to which you see right now, thus kicking everybody's budget and buying habits out of shape. So what do we have to do? We have to what? We have to conform. We have to strategize, and we have to, we need that. We need that. You see what I'm saying? The perplexing thing is when it's introduced, or the capacitor releases its energy, and you see what comes from it, They then observe the shock waves, which result by monitoring the changes in advertising prices and sales of that and other commodities. And some people go and rob banks to meet the need. Anyway, the objective of such studies is to acquire the know-how to set the public economy into a predictable state of motion or change, even a controlled, self-destructive state of motion, which will convince the public that certain expert people should take control of the money system and reestablish security, to which you see right now. What do? They just had this thing, do all this crazy spending, and like everybody's stupid and nobody paid attention. And now they're talking about the Capitol, the ceiling, in both parties, as if they don't know who did what. And they've let it. And then to play the good and the bad, the angel and the devil, because they believe every one of you are caught up in their lies. Anyway, establish security. Rather than, and in parentheses, it states, rather than liberty and justice for all, and when the subject citizens are rendered unable to control their financial affairs, they of course become totally enslaved, a source of cheap labor. Not only the prices of commodity. How was it when we were making all our own stuff? We were all becoming a very rich people, and they couldn't have, especially us, the true Shemitic people, people of origin. They couldn't have us in position if they could not manipulate nor use us. You see what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, and that's why so many Pelicans are so damn dumb that they talk like this. Not no hate, not the shade, the truth. Yeah, but you had to come out not knowing that welfare and everything, it was given to them, and they didn't earn shit. And then we taught them, and then all of a sudden we were subjugated and murdered and this, that, and other to stay away, to become dumb. Well, thank goodness, inherently, not subjectively, it's natural with us. Now, not only the prices of commodities, but also the availability of labor can be used as the means of shock testing. Labor strikes deliver excellent test shocks to an economy, especially in the critical services areas of trucking. Hence, you have unions. Trucking, let's look at it in parentheses, transportation, and communication, public utilities, that'd be energy, water, and all that, garbage and all that crap, collections, the whole nine. By shock testing, it is found that there is a direct relationship between the availability of money flowing in an economy and the psychological outlook and response of masses of people dependent upon that availability. And what do people do? Oh, Congress. Oh, who are we going to vote for? And then we all start arguing, fighting. The news manipulates everybody. It's a big gambit when the so-called subjects, the citizens, are never going to be satisfied because the government's not doing for the people, of the people, by the people. They're part of the game, the agenda. For example, there is a measurable quantitative relationship between the price of gasoline and the probability that a person would experience a headache, feel a need to watch a violent movie, smoke a cigarette, or go to a tavern for a mug of beer. And just the way that has influence on that stuff, our music has influence on our ignorance and violence as well. Drug intake and everything else, once it's introduced as another way to numb. It is most interesting that by observing and measuring the economic modes by which the public tries to run from their problems and escape from reality, and by applying the mathematical theory of operation research, it is possible to program computers to predict the most probable combination of created events, shocks, for example, which will bring about a complete control and subjugation of the public through a subversion of the public economy by shaking the plum tree. Do you not see that going on right now? Do you not see that happening right this very moment? So I go and I destroy and kill, murder hundreds of thousands of chickens. And then these little wayward, goofy ass scientists, because of GMO, genetically modified shit, Bill Gates to push, why is nobody locking that motherfucker up? This is what I'm talking about. Anyway, synthetic eggs. And how did they indoctrinate you in that? They give you the shock value once they let the what you call it go, the capacitor go. So you had the conductance and you had the release, and that was by seeing in certain so-called Asian countries making fake eggs. Now, what you will do is to be satisfied. Okay, well, I guess I'll eat the synthetic ones. May have already been buying and eating. And tomorrow we'll get into the introduction to the economic amplifier, what amplifies. And you would think that psychology and all these other things, which are test beds, as the citizen subjects, or the experiment, would be so. Now, another thing I want to add. Let's be clear on this. We have people that have an issue with this tartary thing, and they don't know the first thing about it. More and more, and the mud flood and everything, and it's a reality. It doesn't matter what these little fucking little idiots who work in these little groups do, and the lies they're practicing. Do the best you can to not believe nothing they say, because they will attempt to convince you in the most subtle, lunatic. But how you say the word? I would say from the asylum type lunatic way, a lunacy way. I scrolled down, and I hit the second, and scrolled down, and I looked at how they were attempting, to which it was never there before, to misinform and to dequalify the information that has always been out there that nobody ever looked at, because it was not based upon the education system's curriculum of lies to keep everybody further dumbed down. But most of y'all who went to college or school realized that when you went to work, literally you learned on the job. Some people may have the information, but most of the time that was because you knew people who worked in those departments, or you went and shopped, or you saw how things go and you knew there was a better way to do something. But the thing was to be able to become a force factor, get in there and get your hands on, whether it's in sales, stocking, merchandising, or whatever it is, to learn the ins and out. The other thing is to have the tolerance to be able to deal with the different people in there. This is all part of that 3-tier system. And most people don't know that. Or 55 minutes, good. DNA of the Gods, the Anunnaki Creation of Eve and the Alien Battle for Humanity, by Chris H. Hardy, PhD. DNA of the Gods. Human to human, God's the shadow side. The Anunnaki unfortunately also showed many of the negative traits we now associate with humanity, and sometimes to a degree that is not permissible on Earth anymore, and it is despicable to us. It's been reunited. Right. Anyway, overwhelming rage. One of the Anunnaki's most noticeable traits of character is how easily they fall prey to uncontrollable and overwhelming rage. They are constantly angry at each other's actions, and whenever they feel that their privileges of rank within their territory of command are put at risk, or if their own inflated egos are offended, they immediately get into a fit of rage and launch indiscriminate and venomous actions. Not only do they overact, but they are simply devoid of any ability to access their own state of consciousness, or to weigh and reflect on their impulsive decisions and vengeful schemes. Self-examination and making excuses is as are unheard of if this trait, space rage space, is commonplace among them. Enlil, the supreme god on earth, has it in excess like Inanna. He is excessive in many aspects of his personality, but unlike her, it's to the point of overreacting and being unable to access a situation globally. Wow. Damn. One example, it sounds familiar, people. One example speaking for itself is Enlil's violent reaction when faced with the revolt of the Anunnaki working in the gold mines. The report of which is part of the Atrahasis, or whatever the fuck words, epic. Sorry for chopping it up. Epic. Let me see if I can get it right. Atrahasis epic. Translated by W. Lambert and A. Millard. I guess it's Anderson Millard or something like that. Anyway, Enlil travels to southern Africa to check on the work done in the gold mines directed by his brother Enki. And he is, of course, given a guest house. And the Anunnaki set up a revolt to show him that they are overwhelmed with toiling and working in the mines. They take up to arms with their working tools, set up fires, surround Enlil's house. Say the tap. Enlil enraged took up his weapons, but he too was reminded by his chamberlain, "My lord, these." He connects with Anu to come him to them and gather an assembly of the gods. During the deliberations, Enlil, still enraged, demands the death penalty for the chief of the mutiny. He puts it as an ultimatum: either the leader is executed or he would resign. We have to remark here that the rebels have voiced their grievances with strong words and acts, but that at no point was the life of Enlil really at risk. It takes Anu to hear and understand the woes of the workers, and he sides with them, refusing to give in to the vengeful stance of his son. That's when Enki will propose to create a primitive worker, and that the assembly will vote for it. Jealousy. And I'm going to read this and we'll move on to the next one. Most of the royals are quickly jealous of each other, and this despite the fact that the land has been divided into regions and cities. Almost every male, save for Murdoch in parentheses, has his own city, and within it his own temple abode. When a temple was built for an Anunnaki royal couple, Lulus would be brought in as servants, and their descendants populated the city, creating a whole city that worshiped the royal lord of the temple of the woman. Either they are married and are reigning with their husband, or we hardly hear about them. And we know that this husband wife thing is, that's a construct. Anyway, there are only two great exceptions: Inanna Ishtar, who will at one point rise to be the first among the gods for a whole cycle, and of course Nimna. As we see so well with us humans, it's not because someone is at the top and gets everything in excess, power, fame, and riches, that he or she is devoid of jealousy. The poor and the needy can't really afford to be angry or jealous, because that will make their living condition even worse. They know and learn to be patient and forgiving. The Anunnaki are no exception, or should I rather say they are clearly our blueprint. something else, isn't it? It's pretty whoa. Well, as far as the reading go, we can take a lot from these readings. Is what I'm saying. Believe half of what you hear and nothing of what you believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. Lie on your intuition. Lie on your subconscious to come through and point you in a direction and hear certain things that you can acclimate to. That way it can be useful in this life. Don't never let nobody be very directful. Oh, look at this. Oh my God. Because you see the people running around that realm, ankhs around their necks and tattooed on their bodies and shit. Whew. We see this very well with Inanna, always prone to invade others. And they did it without knowing. I'm not beating them down, but I'm just saying, whoo. Prone to invade others' territories, despite the fact that she was given an entire region at the time, and there were only 4 in all. Sumar for Enlil, Africa, / Egypt and South Africa for Enki, the Sinai region of the space facilities for Nimna, and the Indus Valley for Inanna. So, and before that, she had a temple abode in Erech, her own city. Yet as soon as one of her kin is on a faraway travel, Inanna sends her army and tries to seize his land by force, even if that god has only a single city. A single city. Ain't that something? It's pretty freaking amazing, isn't it? Enoch, we're about done right here. And good, because I want to get into another book. And this is the book of Enoch, and there's a bigger one with much more stuff in it, and I'm not going to read that one. And I will bring forth in shining light those who have loved my holy name, and I will seat each on the throne of his honor. His honor. Not, yes, your honor, that bullshit. And they shall be resplendent for times without number. You know what resplendent means? For righteousness is the judgment of God. For to the faithful he will give faithfulness in the habitation of upright paths. See, that is not material stuff. It's expressing something totally different from what we've been made to believe. And they look at the Muslims running around with, I'm gonna have 42 virgins. Anything to blow yourself out, just because you think about the time you got raped in the booty and you got a piece of ass that you raped and went against your religion. Yeah, think about it. And they shall see those who were born in darkness led into darkness, while the righteous shall be resplendent. And the sinners shall cry aloud and see them resplendent, and they indeed will go where days and seasons are prescribed for them. Excellent read. Excellent read. It's a very good read. We finished 2 of these other big books, man. We can get into some other books I want to get into. The Giants, the Book of Giants, The Watchers, Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch. And this is by Joseph Lumpkin. He done went to sleep. I want to wake his ass up because he wakes me up every morning at 4:35 o'clock. I was going to shake him. He ain't up there either. He must be over there in the bathroom hiding out. Anywho. Woo, child. Okay, cool. We already covered that part. So chapter 9. 1. And I know I read this, right? Yeah, I believe I did. No, I didn't. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down and from heaven and saw much blood being shed on the earth, and all lawlessness being done on the earth. And they said to each other, now before that, it was all done in secret by these sons of these individuals now who are not so much in hiding. And they said to each other, let the cries from the destruction of earth ascend up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their petition, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Most High of the ages, so the Lord of the lords, gods of gods, We know where that term comes from. King of kings and God of the ages. As if there's another one. Anyway, the vernaculars, I'm going to read, okay? The throne of your glory endures through all the generations of the ages, and your name holy and glorious and blessed to all the ages. And we know that in original text, as far as one of the quatrains of Enoch, which is 6:15, which in his times he shall shew who is the blessed and only potentate, the King of kings and the El of elves, who only hath immortality, dwelling in the light which no man can approach unto, whom no man hath seen nor can see, to whom be honor and power everlasting. And it says amen at the back. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother book of information. There's nothing wrong to not utilize it. I'm not going to dismiss it in totality. I question its authority. Because too many perversions have made a sacrament that is the worst of worst. And we all know this now. You have made all things, and you have power over all things. And all things are revealed and open in your sight. And you see all things, and nothing can hide itself from you. Look at what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were made and kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn. I keep telling you, heaven, it's in us. And we've been cut for somehow raised in ignorance, not nurtured in its truth. So we live in the darkness and their darkness that they created. That's why I always say, look at yourself and search out that light in you. And Simjaza, who taught spells, to whom you gave authority to rule over his associates. We know that's not the purpose, and we know that they've taken our true, you can say magic if you want, and they wanted it to be dead to us, and they perversely utilize it, so that way we cannot tap into or mitigate our body and our source's response to allow it to arise to the occasion. It's a form of like blind purgatory, right? Like literally a zombie, And they have gone to the daughters of men on the earth and have had sex with the women and have defiled themselves and revealed to them all kinds of sins. In Genesis 6:4 states, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Yeah, I read that. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and righteousness. That means defiled. In Genesis 6:5, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And you see how they make all that look all beautiful? Like, it's not beautiful, but there are people who have been scripted in the generation who are corrupted, the rainbows, and don't call me a man or woman. And they want to fight and all ugly, and it's all evil. There's no light and no love there. It's all you will obey, you will hear me, you won't know nothing, you can't have a thought. But we can have all our thoughts because somebody said we could. And they don't even know how it came to be. Anyway, it repented the Creator that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. It has a heart. Pay attention. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying out and making their petition to the gates of heaven. And their lament has ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are done on the earth. The end has not become full fulcrum. We have a bunch of idiots right now, rebellion and all this other crap, and they actually believe that all this is a bunch of boo-ha-ha, because the people who have mitigated this work on the most darkest of sides. It's not even about questioning whether they care about their soul, if they have one or not. You know how they say that statement, or that statement, that word, or the saying, power corrupts. Okay. 11. And you know all things before thy come to pass, and you see these things, and you have permitted them, and say nothing to us about these things. What are we to do with them about these things? Well, you have a choice. In Revelations 6:10, New International Version. God dang, boy. Anyway, because what it's going to say is not what it actually says in old text. Anyway, they called out in a loud voice, how long, sovereign Lord, and that is not the word, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood? And that's not the original statement. You know, they've got to always put a twist to make you more comfortable. And the non-believers who push it to further have non-belief because it's been changed and they don't remember what it actually stated. How long should we have to wait until you judge the inhabitants of the earth or hold them accountable and avenge our blood? Mighty one. Is that good enough for you? Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Holy One, if you want to call him that, Uriel, go to the sons of Lamech and say to him, go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide yourself and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a flood is about to come on the whole earth and will destroy everything on it. And we know that we can go to Genesis 7:4 for that, right? Okay. And now instruct him as to what he must do to escape, that his offspring may be preserved for all the generations of the world. Now, we know we have this buying between this, Gilgamesh, and one other. And that comes from Nimna, right? Okay. I just want to make sure that you guys are following. Okay? And that would be Genesis 6:13. And I'll read that one for you. And the Creator said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. 14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, which only grew in America. Surprise, surprise. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. Have any of y'all ever looked up what pitch and how to make it? It's pretty easy if you want to make a log cabin, but we built more extravagant things, which we probably won't never do again, I don't think. Anyway, and again, chapter 4. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and feet, and cast him into the darkness, and split open the desert, which is in Dudale, and cast him in it. And where is Dudale? I got my, you know what? Y'all look it up and you tell me. And it's spelled D-U-D-A-E-L, Dudale. I'm pronouncing it half-assed, but yeah. And cast him in. And look at where it's at. And then look up where all the cerns were built at. Okay. And fill the hole by covering him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him live there forever, and cover his face that he may not see the light. So it says forever. Did they change that? Or is it forever? In Revelation 21, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. And we know the dragon and the, well, we're going to leave that alone. We're just going to read it, which is the devil. They want to push you away from so much stuff. And Satan, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit. And it says 1,000 years, but when it states forever. What is forever and what is 1,000 years? A millennium, right? And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And we know this is a lie because we know those who deceived the nations. And we've been dealing with it. You see where I'm coming from? So in order for it or them to exist, they must make you believe otherwise, so that way they can continue doing what they're doing to have an upper hand, because it knows what you're capable of. My thing is to make sure that you know what you're capable of. But me telling you don't mean shit if you ain't doing nothing to become that which you're capable of. And that's the reason why it's important to read this stuff, people. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be hurled into the fire. And 7, and heal the earth which the angels have ruined, and proclaim the healing of the earth, for I will restore the earth and heal the plague, and that not all of the children of men may perish, through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. Now I can go into the mud flood and all that, and Tartary and all that, just by reading that. If we're dealing with them and they're dealing with inversion, to which you see. Whenever I speak about Tartarian, it could have been for a very brief moment, which it kind of alludes to, but a long time in our vernacular, but a very brief time in another. There's a purpose why and the reason why they added all these years. And it's more than what people think. All this leap year and frog year and all these other goofy things. And what is it? What is that? Isn't that what you call about to come back around? Daylight savings time. That's to keep us jacked off in our heads about the truth of the seasons. Okay, here we go. In Exposing Expositions 1851-1915, revised edition of 2021 from the 2019 one before the fake-demic by Howdy Mikowski. All right. Hey, it goes right into this. Many new inventions were presented here, such as a wireless telephoning unit or radiophone, music or spoken messages. Radio. It means transmitted through what, right? Or transmitted from an apparatus within the palace of electricity to a telephone receiver out in the courtyard. The receiver, which was attached to nothing, when placed to the ear, allowed a visitor to hear the transmission. There was no telephone wires. I keep telling you, fireplaces didn't have wood burning in them. If you know how things work, under these fake churches, they have been making, I think they have 4, when I last heard 4 years ago, there's things underneath them that work on thermal for cooling and heating. Remember I read to you about, please remember, I read to you about an ancient organ that had over 17,889,000,000, was it 667,500, whatever, tones, sounds. All right. Anyway, receiver out in the courtyard. The receiver, which was attached to nothing, when placed to the ear, allowed a visitor to hear the transmission. This radiophone, invented by Alexander Graham Bell, consisted of a transmitter which transformed sound waves into light. Waves, and a receiver which converted the light waves back into sound waves. He didn't create that. Remember, he had the telephone wire. This technology developed into the radio and early mobile phones. Again, I wonder how much the palace of electricity had with the ability of this device to work. I am sure the tower of the palace would be working similar to a modern cell phone tower. That means they were displaying the cell phone in 1904, but could not get another one up and running for the public anyway, in parentheses, until after 1990. And I bought one of the first ones by Sprint, I remember. It makes one wonder now about the supposed cell phones claimed to be seen in some 1920 silent movies. They might be actual cell phones given the St. Louis information. Even in World War II, I've seen 12 films with Germans using cell phones. Mike Tyson has somebody in there using a cell phone, probably a government agent. In his first fight, right? Second fight? Anyway, an early version of the fax machine was also presented as were the X-ray machine. Early automobiles were on display with models powered by gasoline, steam, and electricity. Yes, they were showcasing electrical cars in 1904. Just how much has been hidden from us for so long? Added to this was an airplane contest and led to St. Louis getting the nickname of the Flight City, as well as Lindbergh naming his plane the Spirit of St. Louis. Another major exhibit was the infant incubator. Although infant incubators were invented in the year 1888, they were not being well used, so they began to display them at various world's fairs. This piece of medical equipment helped the baby with compromised immune systems by providing a sanitary environment to reduce the likelihood of acquiring an infection. In each incubator was an airtight glass box with a metal frame. Hot air was pumped into, because we know who made the Spanish flu, right? All right. Container to keep a constant temperature. 10 nurses cared for 24 neonatal babies while in the infant incubators. Clones? Anyway, the exhibit required an entrance fee of 25 cents, and visitors could also purchase souvenirs and refreshments from the adjoining shop and cafe. The Pike. Wow, they did not build that. The Pike was a name for the fair's long midway street, which was more than just a few blocks in Carnival rides. It was almost 1.5 miles long, and doctors warned weaker patients not to go out to it out of fear they would collapse from trying to see it all. While the Chicago Ferris wheel was there, and of course basic rides and the like. Take a gander at the world experience the visitor could enjoy. It so dwarfed what was at Chicago, I had to present some of it to you, to get a sense of some of what it was, for it was like a giant worldwide travel experience accentuated by thousands of actors. Each exhibit had a giant restaurant seating as many as 3,000 people. When I say to you that these bastards in all lands moved into these things that they did not build, all they know how to do is destroy. They didn't have the technology nor knowledge or the know-how to build any of this. They knew how to paint and put a little worthless ass smackle on some shit. 1.5 miles long. Do you think they was able to build that in 2 years, people? Oh, you can't see that. Remember perception? I know it looks like it's curving, right? It's probably on the round earth. No, it's 1.5 miles long, people. Okay? For those people that are curved earth, you know, every what, 6-7 miles, the earth drops how many? You know, so if you do 100 miles, the earth should be like, you can't see shit over that side. I know. Most people aren't like me on the crow's nest looking out 300-400 miles straight across through a super Saxton with a super goddamn binocular. That I was like, am I supposed to look through this? Yeah, it's going down, James. I know what you talk about. I just wanted you to see that. This motherfucker's got them kind of clearances, man, that people walking around the boat still thinking the earth's round, and y'all can see 300 and 400 miles straight across to all them fucking boats over there. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I have an issue when a motherfucker opens his mouth and don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Shake it off, James. Shake it off. Disrupting and misguiding the people. Talk about what you know. Talk about your family history and what kind of Indian you is. Leave other things alone. Ancient Rome was a colossal exhibit, which with over 400 actors employed to give the visitor illusion of going back in time to a life of gladiators. A large arena called the Hippodrome showcased chariot race, jousting, boxing, and gladiatorial clashes with 200 persons, 40 animals, including tigers, lions, and leopards. You know the American lion's bigger than the African lion? Oh, y'all didn't know that? And more ferocious and mean. Okay, I'm gonna let that be. Well, he was, before these motherfuckers killed it, along with so many other. The final was a reproduction of Nero's Rome burning. In parentheses, it states, oddly, this is the exact Roman period I think these expositions are mirroring, discussed in chapter 7. End of parentheses. Tyrolean Alps was a 9-acre reproduction of the Alpine region in Bavaria, Germany. It had 21 village cottages, a cathedral, and gigantic mountains of staff. Visitors could ride a simulated tram car through the Alps, where real cattle and goats would be in pasture. And see, it took 2 years for them motherfuckers to learn how to operate some of this shit with niggas coming through the back fucking door, showing these stupid sons of bitches. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that. Okay. Could ride a simulated tram car through the Alps, where real cattle and goats could be in pasture. We created hockey, didn't we? How the fuck did that come to be? Basketball? Boxing? Dancers and musicians entertained the crowds, and Jerusalem covered 11 acres and included 22 streets and 300 buildings. Replicated with a stable in which Jesus Christ was said to be born. They added that shit. The Golden Gate, you know they added that garbage. The Golden Gate, the Mosque of Omar, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which they created that shit. Over 1,000 people from Jerusalem traveled to the United States to participate and work at this exhibit. And yet we know that Jerusalem in that period didn't exist because we know about the Belfort Agreement. We know about what these fake motherfuckers did during World War II and what happened after. Do you see what I'm saying when pale skins write books? Even they are equitable. And I say that with all repugnancy. That's why I say if any more of you pale skins write a book, I don't think they want no more, because they know that we're waking up and we're able to see through the shit and be able to pick up the puzzle pieces. Anyway, from Jerusalem traveled to the United States to participate and work at this exhibit. Like at Chicago, one could walk down the streets of Cairo and smoke a water pipe, ride a camel, haggle for carpets, or walk through a replica of Luxor Temple. At the streets of Seville, one saw a replica of the Plaza de Toros in Madrid and Gypsy Lane of Barcelona. The Great Siberian was a train ride that utilized illusion to make one believe they were on the Great Cross-Russian Railway. The Irish village was entering via a replica of St. Lawrence Gate, and Paris replicated France during the medieval times, and there was Constantinople, the Chinese village, and the streets of Old St. Louis. And we'll get the other part tomorrow. Do I even have to say heaven's bearers? The Great Reset of 1834 and the Mud Flood. Janine Helen, girl, you outdid yourself, even though I had to check a couple of them damn punctuations. Sister girl. There she is in South Africa. All right, let's get into it. I know I'm a big clown at times. It is what it is. Anyway, Mother Nature is unsure and waves him away. No, the tree of life will not die. Okay, we don't want to go start there. Mother Nature was fooled by these creatures. I have tried to show her their evil ways and how they tricked her into believing the Tartarians broke the covenant. But she is stubborn and blind to the truth. This heaven bearer, Azrael, has her wrapped around his rotten claw. Do you get heaven bearer? The bearer of truth. That means like a secret society who knows the truth and is all about doing evil. Are you getting it now? I was like saying, should I even explain that yet? Has anybody figured that out? And don't sit there saying, I figured it out. Don't even say it, because you would have said it in here. Like some fake ass cult motherfuckers. Anywho, you're welcome. This heaven bearer Azrael has her wrapped around, my nose. Ooh, was the itch. Okay, there we go. Ooh, that was the itch. Around his rotten claw, and it sickens me to see this, you know. I am working on my way for us to prove the truth to her, but it won't be easy. In fact, I see only one way, and it is very likely we will fail, Bonnie. Her eyes are sad and hollow. No, for the sake of my Huron, for all the Huron, we will win. I dream about it. Bonnie, she interrupts her. Those dreams are hopes. They aren't reality, and you know this. Bonnie nods, and a tear rolls down her cheek. Yes, but I choose to believe. That is more than what you are willing to do. She snaps and immediately regrets it. I'm sorry. Now, dear, you're right. It will all be okay in the end. but many will die. This is the only way that we will end the war. This will be the war to end all wars. The tree of life suddenly gets quiet and stares up into the canopy and cries out in agony. Bonnie, it is time. They have figured it out, and she disappears in an instant, and the heavy air drops suddenly, pushing down hard onto Bonnie. The wind gets stronger, and the snow falls even harder and settles all around her. She gets up and tries to head back down the mountain, but the wind is blowing up against her, and it is too strong and cold. She can't move forward. She puts her hand in front of her face to block the snow, smashing into her face. But it doesn't help. The snow is coming from every direction, and she only has her two hands. The wind blows her over, and she struggles to get back onto her feet. She closes her eyes and braces the snow and turns her head up in the direction of the canopy. She opens them again, and her eyes turn a deep blue and quickly flash that golden color. Her mind is scanning, looking for him, and what he is doing to make Mother Nature so angry all of a sudden. There he is, she mutters. She could see him, and he is whispering something into her ear, and she is angry, very angry. She pricks up her ears and tries to zone into what he is saying. She focuses on his moving mouth, and blocks out the howling wind and the crackling in the sky. The tree of life is working with those who betrayed you. It is time to make an example of her and kill the girl. His tongue is long like that of a snake, and his eyes are glowing yellow. He is hideous, and she cringes at the sight of him. Mother Nature is unsure and waves him away. No, the tree of life will not die. Not by my hands or yours. She glances at him. She will be punished for her betrayal. I will make sure of it. But without her, I cease to exist. We all cease to exist. The tree of life is earth. Paying attention? She says and gazes down below her. She can see Bonnie and zooms in on her face. Such a pretty girl, isn't she? Azrael doesn't like what he hears, and he wishes he could kill Mother Nature. But he knows he needs her in order to defeat the Tartarian girl. He isn't powerful enough on his own, and it bothers him that he has to rely on her. Can I kill the girl? You don't need the girl. In fact, she's capable of destroying me and taking over. She can't be trusted, he says, and licks his lips in excitement. Yes, she is powerful. Stop her now before she gets even more powerful. She orders, and the night sky cracks loudly, making every living soul shake with fear. Chapter 19. The war has started. It actually has. Y'all just not fighting the real one. Yeah, too damn dumbed down. Anyway, it will be bitter and cold, and many will die. The mud flood reset the entire world and paved the way for a new age. The New World Order. It did. This war, however, has the potential to destroy an entire race of people, erasing history completely and setting the world on fire. Bonnie knows that this war isn't preventable, but the collateral damage needs to be mitigated as best as possible. Innocent people should never die, but they do. Innocent people always suffer the most during war. She could feel the weight pressed down on her shoulders. It will be up to her and the twins and Cashapp. Fight with me, Tree of Life. I need you now more than ever. I can't do this on my own, she shouts out, hoping she will hear her pleas. While she struggles against the snowstorm, that is, she feels the snow start to melt between her fingers, and she knows the Tree of Life is still there and able to help her. She feels a sense of relief rush over her, and her eyes turn the snow bright blue. She stands up, and an invisible spear forms around her, blocking the wind and snow from touching her body. And she takes one giant leap forward. She lands hard on her feet, stumbles forward, and lands on her knees. She looks back at the mountain that she just leaped off of. and watches the sky turn black. Malcolm! She screams as loud as she can, and her voice doesn't sound like hers at all. It is deep, and it echoes across the whole plain and strikes the heart of everyone in the settlement. She starts running as fast as she can towards the settlement and watches how the snow around her melts away, making way for a path for her to follow. The yellow brick road, follow, follow, follow. Okay. The war has begun, she mutters under her breath for Malcolm and Cassiel to hear. She is terrified and they can feel her fear in those 4 words. Cassiel looks out into the distance and can see Bonnie running up towards him. The clouds forming are dark and heavy and the air becomes extremely cold. Everything starts freezing all around him and he knows the war is already lost unless Bonnie has a miracle under her sleeves. The ground starts cracking as it freezes over and a woman screams out in pain. He looks in the direction and the scream and it stops suddenly, leaving the lady frozen dead in the very spot where she lay. She didn't even get the chance to run away. It all happened so fast. He tries to stop it, but he can do nothing at all. Bonnie stops just outside of the settlement, and with all her might, she slaps her hands together. Nothing happens. She tries again, this time in conjunction with a deep breath, and every pain receptor on her body activates at once. Her hands are on fire, but she isn't burning, and she pulls her hands apart and blows the flame over the settlement. The flame forms a burning dome around them that keeps everything warm, but sets nothing on fire. She can feel the heat radiate from the burning wall of fire, and turns around to watch the storm coming. There are giant shadows forming in the distance. The sky starts to crackle, and her heart thumps in absolute fear. Anticipation, making you uncles wait. I hope that was enjoyable. I'm surprised more people didn't come in, but I'm not, actually. I saw people commenting on somebody's post, what I was talking about. And I'm going to actually call them and be like, yo, brother, you really believe that shit? You know? But anyhow, I appreciate y'all taking the time to stop in. I appreciate the likes. Like I said, whatever you donate, as far as the fiat, the worthless damn dollar that we mitigate, that we have to go live by. Sadly, I don't live by it, but $2 and $5, I'm still going to buy books. I am still going to buy a crap load of books. You know, I have a bunch of them lined up, and I appreciate it. Trust me, I do. Wouldn't it be better than that instead of going out and spending $10, $12 on a 6-pack of beer and a bunch of booze that they've tampered with? You know what the word liquor means, or alcohol, where it's derived from? The actual jana, the very what do you say? Aesthetic demon. For those who use the word demon, jin, jin. Yeah, it's a robber of souls, source of spirits, and isn't that the inversion? So anyway, if you don't mind, cool. Like I said, I think I got $25 left. The tablet, I'm using a light on it. I don't want to put that big goofy ring up in front of my TV because of the magnets. I don't want to mess my TV up. But yeah, like I said, I actually wrote down 2 more books. I told you the other day I purchased another book. I think I purchased 2 actually. I don't keep up. I purchased them and they get here. I had to reorder the Lincoln Africanus. I really want to read that and read that with y'all. You know what I'm saying? As a single book. I could actually read it with. I got so many damn books right here, bro. Besides these, good God Almighty. And I got the ones over there by the bed too. I can actually read it with, and I got a ton of books downstairs too. No, I'm gonna read it with that. Not with Quinn. I can read it with the Civil War books. I've got a bunch of Civil War, and I'm actually a son of the Confederacy. I'm literally one of the sons of the Confederacy. I really am. But a real one. Anyway, when I do get it, I will make it my business to read it. And there's books I started, but they're going to be read with other books because they have to be. That's the way it has to be done. Because there's a reason for everything. Enoch is done, so we can put that in the shed. And I might one day even read The World is Flat by Thomas L. Friedman, so you have a better understanding of what William Cooper is expressing. It's an excellent book. And when we say flat, we're talking about monetary, or we're talking about the 21st century, and we're talking about what we're dealing with as far as what is lucrative, what it, the government, the monetary system, the fiat, and all that. They have us looking at it as if it's got a shape to it. It's very benign. It's very flat. It's very direct. We can't see that because we have been caught up in all this, taxes to which we're not supposed to be paying, and all this other shit, fake government policies, and everything else that have been levied over us that should not be, because most people are still honoring a fake government in ignorance. They really are. And maybe one day I'll go ahead and read it to you. It's an excellent, excellent freaking read. All right. So I appreciate y'all taking the time. Share this. I appreciate it whether you share it on YouTube. Now you share it. You can share it. Put a little quote on top, and you can share it directly where other people see it. It doesn't matter if you only got 1 people following you like me, or if you got 10 or 20 or 30. Share it on Facebook and Instagram in the chats. Just say, hey, check it out. And all are welcome. I appreciate everybody. I really do. And again, you don't have to give me $1,000. I'm not looking for you. You're not going to make me rich. and I'd rather be rich in here. A couple of dollars helps me. It goes a long way when it's everybody chipping in. It goes a long way to books. It really, really does. It seems like the price of eggs and gas went up. The price of books are going up, surprisingly. Hey, Grey Wolf, I'm glad you came in after an hour and 43 minutes to say grand elevations, because you're always getting me well after, but I know you're a busy, retired man like myself. How's it going, brother? Anyway, let me give a shout out. I'm going to get the fella off of here. I got to wash this chocolate out because, it stains real bad. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch The Purge. Actually, I'm going to watch, I'm turning off the TV. I'm turning on, let me get it set up. I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to watch tonight. Dog it. I wish y'all could be with me. We could be out in the living room watching movies together. I might even have a glass of wine. I'm talking about spirits and shit. Now, there's 2 stands. This is my favorite stand. This is the new one that a lot of y'all can see, I think on Prime or one of those fucking channels. This one sucks ass. This one is the original with the sister. But you know me. I got to get all my purges on. You know what I'm saying? I got to get all of them on. I got the other ones down here. And then after that, I might start, I like watching The Great Wall with Mark Wahlberg, with Matt Damon, that she, or whatever. And the other one that I'm going to probably watch, I keep all the Marvels together because I got every one of them because I like it. I don't care. I see the other things in it, and I'm not going to go into that. But my thing is like all the I just got a whole bunch of videos. I got so many downstairs. Equalizer. Damn, I got all 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'll probably watch either Blood Wars or my favorite is The Swordsman after I watch I'm only going to watch 2 Purges. So I'm going to be up all night watching movies. I'll probably go to bed around 12. And I have The Great Wall. So somewhere in there, I'll try and fit that in. So right now, I'm going to put in, not the Forever Purge, I'm going to put in Purge 1. And let me see. I got so many Avengers. John Wick 3? Oh, I forgot I had that. No, it's Django. You can stay your ass right there. There goes all the equalizers on the bottom. I was watching war movies last night when I fell asleep. Do I want to watch that one? No. Okay. So, The Kingsmen. I got all those too. Ghost in the Shell. Y'all, I'm big on that shit. So I've got Equalizer 2, Equalizer, and Equalizer. I think it's the 3rd one downstairs, if I remember right. All right, let's put that together. So anyway, John Wick's. Anyway, that's what I'm going to watch first. What the is that honey? See, that's you, man. He loves my honey. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get these purges, get the DVD player hooked up. Not to stand. We ain't watching you too long, nigga. I can't watch you. All right. And I gotta clean this. How much honey you doing that? Yes, I eat a lot of honey, y'all. But I appreciate me the shout outs. I'm cleaning this shit up. Hey, Ronald, what's going on, beloved? Red Floyd, hey, baby girl. West Side. Hello, brother. What's going on, Evelyn Smiley? Nabby, what's going on, sweetheart? Yeah. Platinum Gold, what's going on, fam? West Side. You already know. God damn it. Mom, we got to bring it to him. Hey, Jah, what's going on, family? Peace up, brother. Etta, hey, what's going on, sister? Tell her hubby I said, what up? Like, scrambling it up. Yeah. You know it, babe. Austin Cooper, hey, peace and love. What's going on? Peace and life. Excuse me. We cannot be proper ceremonies. You got that right. Cloning, baby incubators, because they were cloning centers. And that's what you never see in some of these things. But you got to remember now, we haven't gotten all the way through this book. And I actually ordered his 2019 book. Yeah, stupid, I know. We got the revised, right? But I want to see what it looks like. He has a lot more pictures, I believe, in it. The Republic, the Tartarian civilization. People had a hard time when I says, okay, tell me why some of my ancestors had Federalist Papers. And why were we called the Republic? There was no America. And I asked him, what was the actual name of this land? Remember, I shared that with y'all. Go back over the videos and goddamn watch them. I don't care. I need y'all to watch them more anyway. I tell you what the name of this land was. And if you remember, and if you made notes of it, you know what they actually called this place. And even on the map, the original map, that showed no ice walls, showed Africa only had three groups of people over there. And it was a wonderful green plush. There was no desert. And a wall, you can see the wall going through it as it does through Louisiana, all the way over, it came all the way through fake ass Mexico, all Texas, all that. A great wall. And everybody was like, man, where you find this shit? I was like, dude, can you find it? And people are finding it. Baba Ross, don't doing that shit. Boy, I know you trying to make a bag, man. I don't care. I love you, bro. Stop doing that. You ain't over here watching my shit. But anyway, I'm like that now. I am really like that because I don't care about the fucking movie industry. I don't care about the music industry. And if people want to do reactions, fuck your reactions. That's what I got to say to that. So anyway, Curamio, there's certain people I'll watch. Now, I watch my brother Mac. Mac Man. I watch Curamio. I mean, I watch certain individuals. Navi, she reads a long time, but goddamn it, I enjoy it. I can always go back and listen because there's something there. There's always something, and I love where she's going with her direction. There's other people that's doing some great stuff. My boy, I just shared a video. My boy did another jam. We're supposed to support one another. Like I said earlier, I could be like Mr. fucking Farrakhan himself, right? Get a whole new fucking people. It wouldn't bother me one bit. But I'm here with you. I love you and my kinfolk. And we're tribe. And I'm grateful for the few that support. But everybody else is not going to hurt you to fucking send $2 or $5 fucking dollars to help me buy these books. I am a book fiend. Okay. I think that's better than smoking meth. I don't even know if people smoke crack anymore, do they? And it's definitely better than fucking sitting up getting drunk. I got plenty of alcohol. Anyway, I hate the next day. I'm just not like that no more. But my thing is, I really, really like buying books, people. You see my P.O. box. If you got a book you want to send me, send me. As long as I don't have it. I appreciate it, Gratuity. I'm just grateful that you're listening. But like I said, we do this together. If we don't want to sit there and buy land and we don't want to join together to build up on somebody's land to make a community, what's the purpose? Anyway, love you guys. You already know. Let me get my Yankee. And to my beloved sisters, I got to clean the honey off, man. I don't know how I got on there. And to my brothers, you already know. I'm going to call it the evening. I love you motherfuckers like a motherfucker. Max B, what up, bro? Yeah, I went ahead and shared that shit was banger, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this is Asia Superior. It is. This is the East. This is the old fucking world. The original, where it all started from. All right? Anyway, y'all have a grand evening. I appreciate and love you all. I do.